What is happening, guys? Surprise. This is not NFL Week 11 GPP members only. This is Thursday Night Showdown members only, both cash games and GPP. I'm just going to make this one video, do it for the public, doing a little bit different today because I got my boy, DFS Patriot, who is obviously a huge Patriots fan, and I'm just going to say this out before he can say anything. Nice win for you guys last week. We don't need to talk about it. It was very for Cleveland. I mean, I don't even know if that spoke more about New England or Cleveland. Like, that was just a pathetic performance all the way around. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's definitely both sides of that coin. Like, the Patriots think that they played very, very well.
Sure.
And I think that Browns defense was demoralized after the first quarter.
Yeah.
So, like, you put those two recipes, I mean, and Mac was on.
You know how when I knew the Browns were fucked was when the Browns had a good first drive. Like, Johnson looked good.
Great first drive.
Real good first drive. And they scored a touchdown on the first drive. But they had first and goal from the 1 and did not run one time. It took them a miracle Hooper catch to get their touchdown. As soon as that happened, I was like, we're done. Because New England's going to score. And, man, Stefanski, who was the coach of the year last year, is not looking like the coach of the year this year. That said, a lot of teams go into New England and have problems. Really bad matchup for us. It is what it is. I'm excited to see how New England comes out tonight because, man, we know how the NFL goes. Like, a team looks amazing the week before, facing a team that looked awful the week before. I almost feel like the team that looked awful usually wins. Now, I'm not saying Atlanta's going to win this game, but I think it's a close game. And I very rarely see on a showdown slate the underdog team with the most expensive player. What about you?
Yeah, so that's a weird concept to me, especially because, I mean, Matt Ryan hasn't done anything special this year at all. I mean, you know, as we know, he's a better quarterback at the home versus on the road. But you're looking at a guy who quite
the screen share.
Yes, screen share is up. Yep. Yeah, so, I mean, we're looking at a guy here who has Kyle Pitts. And then what? Cordell Patterson's banged up. He's going to probably play, but he's banged up. You have no Calvin Ridley. Russell Gage, who's supposedly supposed to be your number 1, has done absolutely nothing. And quite frankly, the Patriots defense, what they're really good at is honing on your best receiver and taking them away from you and making you go elsewhere. So I really think tonight, you know, the Patriots are really going to push down on Kyle Pitts. You're going to see safety coverage over the top. They're going to play him underneath. They're going to kind of pin him in. And I think you're going to see Matt Ryan really get frustrated with the fact that that's his best receiver, and the other receivers don't get themselves open enough to do anything productive.
I have no arguments with that. So I think the difference we're going to feel about this game is that I don't think New England scores a lot either. I think this is a really low-scoring game, and I don't think that Atlanta's defense is like great at all. But short week for both teams. Atlanta's at home. New England looked amazing last week. Like, New England is not as good as they looked last week. Like, New England's good, don't get me wrong. And they're going to make the playoffs, and they, you know, there's no, like, world beater in the AFC. But, like, they're not as good as they played last week. Atlanta's coming off a win against New Orleans 2 weeks ago. So it's not like they're the worst team in the league. I just think this game is, like, low scoring and close. I have no arguments. I don't think Atlanta's offense is going to be able to do much against New England. I also don't think New England's going to be able to do much against Atlanta. And there is not much offensively I really like in this game. Like, who is your favorite offensive piece in this entire game?
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, I was really hoping this is, like, in a weird, selfish way that, like, Harris was out so I could just go right back to Ramondre Stevenson. Sure. He looked phenomenal. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like, he looked like the part, like he should be a running back 1 in the league. But with that being said, you know, you have Damian Harris and you have Ramondre Stevenson together as a 1-2 punch. And that's a hell of a combo. They're young, they're explosive, they can catch out of the backfield. I think here, you know, as in regards to my favorite play, obviously, you know, you have the quarterbacks, but, you know, if I'm looking at a receiver type play, I think you go back to Hunter Henry, especially if Jonnu Smith is out again. There's clear chemistry. He is clearly the 1A target in the red zone.
Yes.
And not for nothing, but like we said, Atlanta's defense is bottom 10 in the league in the passing defensive category.
Yeah, I also like Hunter Henry. It is like, how do you think ownership comes out on this slate? Like, if you're playing a cash game today, like, who's your captain?
I feel like you got to captain a quarterback.
So you're captain Mac Jones, right?
I'm captain of Mac Jones.
Do you think it's crazy, Captain Ryan?
I don't think it's crazy. I just think that's not where I would head.
Right. I don't think it's crazy either. And I'll say this, like, the Atlanta side of this game is just going to get a lot less love than the New England side. So that's why in tournaments, like, I like the Atlanta side. It's kind of like Monday night, San Fran and the Rams. It's not going to always work out that way. But in tournaments, if you're playing like the lower owned side and that side happens to be the side that night, then like you're in a good spot. So that's the reason I'm looking at Atlanta. Not necessarily like I think they're going to win this game or they're better than the New England. They're going to be much more owned than New England.
Well, so here's my crazy idea, right? So like obviously I have my bias being, being from Boston, and being a diehard Patriots fan. I don't think it's crazy tonight, and I don't ever recommend this, to play the Patriots defense as your captain. I think they're going to get to Matt Ryan. I think they're going to get their turnovers, and
You're just all the New England Kool-Aid.
Well, naturally, that's how it works.
I'll counter it with this. I don't think it's crazy to captain the Atlanta defense. Rookie quarterback on the road, Thursday Night Football. The New England defense is better than Atlanta's, and on paper, like if you play this game 100 times, the New England defense is going to be the better play 65 times or whatever, but not 95 times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, absolutely no. I mean, my only thing with the Patriots defense is, I mean, if you look
at and
if you look at the expansion of our defensive front seven, I mean, Barmore's been insane. Matt Judon's on a career hell path.
So that's kind of what I'll say though. Like I agree, they've been good, and on paper they're the better play, but doesn't mean it's going to work out like that tonight. And I'm just speaking from the tournament mindset. Like, what happens if Atlanta returns a kick for a touchdown and they get a strip sack on Mac Jones? Like, that shit's random. New England is going to be in better positions to do that stuff because they're the better team. But if you're playing tournaments, you at least got to think outside the box a little bit. And it's interesting. I was also looking at both defenses. There just are no offensive players I really like here. I mean, I'm looking at ownership. Mac Jones is going to be the highest owned player on the slate. The quarterbacks are going to be high owned. It's not even hard to fit them because there's no like studs you really want to fit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and I think with Patterson in play, I think Wayne Gallman is too expensive.
This isn't good either.
Well, that's the other piece of the puzzle. But I mean, if Patterson's out, you can make the argument for Gallman. You can make the argument for Mike Davis, who has fallen, depths on.
I mean, honestly, I think if you're making a cash game right now, you're going Mac Jones and the Patriots D. And and who's your favorite piece of Atlanta? I know you want to be heavy on New England here, but you got to roster someone from Atlanta. So who would it be? Would you go to Ryan because he's just the guy, or would you look to spend down on like Younghoe Koo or their D?
I'm spending down. Like I said, I think they're gonna bracket Kyle Pitts. They're gonna frustrate the hell out of Kyle Pitts. And that's going to put J.C. Jackson, who's going to be shadowing Russell Gage.
I could see a situation, though, where Pitts gets there just from, like, first off, it's not a main slate, so you're not looking at all these other tight ends. Just from, he could get 15 targets here. Even if he only catches half his targets, he could still be very viable with that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I think,
But I get your point. You don't want to spend up on that guy because you want New England.
Right. I mean, I think, so honestly, I don't mind Zacharias.
You love this.
I don't. Yeah.
He's not good. He had 2 touchdowns that 1 week. I mean, he
did
have
7 targets last week.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's cheap, though.
I mean, he's what, 54?
He's not expensive.
No, but I mean, I'd rather play Younghoe Koo.
Same.
I think they're going to rather, if they're going to get close, it's going to be.
He's good, too.
Oh, he's a stud.
So, like that doesn't really matter with kickers, but it matters a little bit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. I mean, and if you think it's going to be low scoring too, Nick Folk has been automatic this year at 4,400.
I do think it's going to be low scoring. So then here, I mean, let's say you did that. Like if this is a cash build, I think it's going to be lower scoring. I mean, you can get Ryan and Harris. You know what I mean? Where would you go here?
Right. From Ryan to Harris?
Yeah. No, I mean, would you just go right here?
Yeah, I mean, well, so that's funny because, like, so obviously I'm on my phone doing this right now, but that's what I have built on my computer right now.
I actually think this is a really logical cash game build. And on the Monday night game, we didn't use either of the quarterbacks, just skill position players. This is like the opposite. The skill position players aren't that good. I like your Hunter Henry. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think in like an optimal line you need him. Now you could take out one of the kickers and Harris and put in Henry, but the problem is like if you take out Koo, you need someone from Atlanta. So
right,
if you took out Folk,
and I feel like a lot of people are just going to naturally go. Yeah,
I agree.
I think a lot of people are just going to go to Matt Ryan. But I mean, again, Matt Ryan can throw, 2 touchdowns and still only get you like 12 to 15 points.
I don't even know if he's going to throw 2 touchdowns.
I don't think he's going to throw that much. That's the problem.
I don't think he's going to throw 2 touchdowns here.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, who do you like more, Ryan or Pitts?
Pitts.
Really?
Just first of all, hear me out. So you obviously get more points for catches, right? If we think the target's going to be
against Pitts, though.
Right, but I'm saying if I had to gun to hand, I'm saving $1,200.
Okay, I get it.
Right, I got their obvious clear receiver. Right, granted they're not gonna double him every single play. There is that option that he could get out and bust one. Right, so like you said, like your point was he could have 15 targets tonight. If he catches 8 targets, right? I mean, say 8, just half of them.
At the end of the day, like he's on the worst team, but he might be the best skill position player in this game.
Yeah, he very well could be. Like overall complete skill position player, absolutely.
Like this game is not loaded with good skill position players. Like New England's not winning because they're like loaded on the outside. They got good pieces, but like none of Myers, like that's the thing about them. Like between Myers and Bourne, I think they're about even. So it's really hard to choose between them.
Yeah, I think it's a guessing game, to be brutally honest with you.
Same.
Let me just see. I just want to see something on my end. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Because I want to see who they have on what. Let's see. So J.C. Jackson is going to be on Zacharias, and it's supposed to be a shadow. So that would take me off him.
I'm going to tell you what, man. The quarterbacks are going to be so high owned and captain because, like, it is so easy to fit. There's no high-priced players, really, like, that you really need.
Right, and this is a week where I feel like you can leave a lot of money on the table and still take it.
Definitely. It's one game. Like, this is an NBA, for sure.
Right.
100% agree with you. I would guarantee, like, in the big Millie Maker tonight, that the lineup that wins, if there's, like, a single winner, will have a lot of money left on the table.
Yeah, I could see, 3,000 to 5,000 left.
Same.
Yeah, so matchup-wise, looking at the matchup tracker that I have here, Nelson Aguilar's got the best matchup for the Patriots against Fabian Moreno. But the other problem is that Atlanta plays a lot of zone coverage. So you're looking at area versus, man-to-man.
Yeah,
so that's why
go ahead.
That's why I'm intrigued more by Hunter Henry, because Hunter Henry's going to find that middle seam. He's going to sit, and it's going to be, your 12 to 15-yard gains, 8 to 15-yard gains.
Okay, so here, let's do this. If we're making a cash game now, we only got a couple minutes left. Okay, Mac Jones at QB. I think the Patriots D look really good in cash games. Matt Ryan gets sacked, throws picks.
Right.
So after that, who's the next guy you want to lock in? And I have Hunter Henry in here because it sounds like you like him a lot. Although, if you like Hunter Henry enough for cash games.
I mean, yeah. If they get anywhere in the red zone, you know exactly where the damn ball's going.
Yeah, I think
you lock in Younghoe Koo. Yeah, no. I think you lock in Younghoe Koo, to be honest with you.
Because you don't like anyone else from Atlanta.
No, I don't.
So then where do you go? Who's the next guy you want to lock in?
See, well, this is where it gets dicey. This is where it comes down to a personal preference type thing.
Right.
So you can go Pitts.
Salary is easily done. In cash games, though, I don't think that's the way to go.
No, I think in cash games you just go Matt Ryan.
Same.
And then that gives you 67 left, and then which is a weird area. Because you can go Russell Gage, which fine, but he's not really. But again, this is where we talk about like saving that money. Like, who do you think scores more? Do you think that Nick Folk scores more, or do you think that Russell Gage scores more?
So I think Nick Folk scores more. So yeah,
which is what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely leave money, but that's more in cash games. Are you? And again, I don't play cash games. Are you willing to leave 2,000 on the table?
At a week like this, the only other option that you have with this, this week for me, I won't play cash games on this slate because of what's left. Like, I would much rather
big for Patriots D captain.
Well, I like that.
But that's not a cash game move?
So let's try it. Look, so we put Patriots defensive captain, right? And then you go Matt Ryan, right? You have 67. You go Younghoe Koo, I feel like.
He's in there. This is the same lineup we just had, if you see it up there. but now instead of Gage, you get Harris.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes a hell of a lot more sense to me.
You are on the Patriots big tonight. I love this lineup. This is not a lineup I will play because I think a lot of people will be thinking toward along these lines, but this makes a lot of sense. And I actually, even in cash games, if I play a cash game, I think this would be it because I don't like Gage at all. I like Harris a lot more than Gage. I don't even think that's close.
Mm-hmm.
And the Patriots B, like on paper, I could see scoring a similar amount to Mac Jones, honestly.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, here's the other piece too, right? So at 40, if you had 44, right, you had Patriots D, Matt Ryan, right, Mac, Harris. I mean, you could hypothetically, if you wanted, you could go Younghoe Koo or you could go Nick Folk.
Well, you can't because you need a guy from Atlanta.
Well, don't we have Matt Ryan?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You could go Folk here, which would
Right.
probably be the way to go.
Right.
I actually like pivoting to Koo in tournaments.
Well, I think Koo will be the lesser of the two owned.
Definitely. Although I don't know about that because a lot of people are going to use him as their only piece from Atlanta. Although,
so here's my
hold on. Before the only thing I'll counter to that is since sound is not an issue, a lot of people will just squeeze in Matt Ryan.
Well, that's true too.
Go ahead.
But I think it gives you. So I mean, again, I think it's going to be lower scoring. I can see the Patriots win this game. I don't know. I think they're going to cover the 6.5 point spread.
Sure, you do.
And of course I do, naturally.
Yeah, I mean that's not
at all. Right. I mean, last week I took them against the Browns too, so there's that.
Yeah, I did not bet the Browns, but I do like the Falcons to cover that number.
Yeah, I mean, so
I think that number is also weird. Like, man, New England's like the king of the king. Everyone's talking about how good New England is. Atlanta just got smoked last week. These are the spots I like, but on paper, New England's definitely the better team. So,
yeah, but I mean, on the road Thursday night, first time Max played on a Thursday night. He could be a little rusty.
Exactly.
So, but with that being said, I still so I got the number on Monday night. I got the number at 5.
Wow, love that number.
Right. So that's why I jumped on it quick. And it's gone up to 7, and it's gone as low as 6.5 where it's at right now. And I think, again, this is a slate where if you're playing GPPs, you leave money on the table. Like plain and simple. Like you don't need those guys that are sub 1,000. Like you just don't. There's no one down there that's worth it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, man, I don't like this game enough to really. Like I might mess around and throw some Atlanta lineups in there because I don't think people will do that. But I personally like the NBA slate a lot more.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, Atlanta sucks. Like I think they cover the number, but like any game they're in is like not really an appealing game to watch.
Right. And I mean, I'm pissed at myself. So last week, when we were talking on Sunday, I was like, "Oh, Dallas is D," and then I didn't play Dallas's D.
Dude,
and I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
I'm pissed because I played one afternoon lineup and like locked in Carolina's D. I was like, "This is so easy." Colt McCoy looked good last week. Carolina's coming home, like Cam Newton's back, and then I was like, "Why the hell did I just not lock them in for my all day lineups?" Like, I forgot about them because I was so entrenched with the Saints. Like. Yeah. Panthers D of the day. Like they were the lock.
Mm-hmm. That's how I was with the Eagles.
Eagles were good.
Yeah, they were.
Especially because they got that TD. You did like
good. Yeah, and I mean, and we'll talk on Saturday. And for those of you, I mean, hopefully we have time to talk on Saturday. I know we have to do it really early.
For sure. We'll do it on Saturday early.
Yeah. So guys, I mean, we'll kind of break it down, but I mean, I swept every slate last week. I got 4 times my return on investment for most of my lineups, so that was huge. And I had Brady, who quite frankly sucked. So it just goes to show if you hit the other right pieces, like you guys can still make that money.
So what we talked about earlier in the year, like it's kind of the opposite. But I was saying when you stacked like these big teams, like at the beginning of the year, like the Chiefs, when they had a couple good first weeks that no one was on them, like it didn't even matter what your other pieces are. You kind of did it the reverse. You nutted your other pieces. It didn't matter what Brady did, really.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, guys, that's like I said, it's a showdown slate. Take it with a grain of salt. This is far more to me a GPP showdown than it is a cash showdown.
Same. I personally, I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring here, so keep that in mind.
Right, and that's why I really think the Patriots defense could be the play captain.
I get that, man. I have no arguments, and I'll say this though: like I think that, and I said this before and you said it, and I think the Atlanta D could, and I'll just go back to Monday night. San Fran, no one thought San Fran was going to win that game. The Rams were much more popular. San Fran shoved the Rams that night. Like they ate their cookies. They walked into their kitchen, ate their cookies. You know what I'm saying? Like they did whatever they wanted.
Yeah, they hurt my bankroll too.
Tonight. I'm not saying it's going to happen tonight, but you kind of have to. The NFL is weird, man. Like the team looks amazing the week before against a team that looked awful. Doesn't always play out as you think it will.
Right. And again, and that's partially why I'm leaning towards playing the Patriots at captain, their defensive captain, for the sole reason of this is Mac's first road game on a Thursday night. Short week.
I'm definitely interested in a lineup with both Ds.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think for me, I mean, looking at this lineup right here, like I could run this, and I'll probably just put, depending at the end, I'll put Younghoe Koo or Nick Folk. That'll be a last minute decision. But yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the Patriots cover. Obviously, I have to.
In like this lineup right here, I know I stopped screen sharing, but you could easily take Ryan and Folk out and put in your other favorite, like Kendrick Bourne and Koo.
Right.
Like you could easily think that one of those receivers outscores Matt Ryan. Like I don't think that's crazy at all.
It's not, no. And I think, the other piece of the puzzle is, and I deleted it, but like check who Jalen Mills is on, because if Jalen Mills is playing outside receiver, like take that receiver, like because he is not an outside corner.
Sweet. Well, I'm sure you'll keep me posted on that.
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent, man. I appreciate you coming on with me today. I know a little surprise for the public. We'll be back on Saturday for members only. Appreciate you. Hopefully we can get on and do some NBA soon.
Yeah, for real.
That's all I got for the slate. You got anything else?
Nah, crush it. If you guys got questions, you know where to hit us up. Hit me up and we'll all be good.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you again.
Catch you guys
later.